there was a collective freak out about Trump appearing on CNN. And yeah, of course, Trump said all sorts of offensive things and false things, as he does, and especially his views on women. But what really got the media class upset, I think, from what I could tell, was when he advocated peace in Ukraine. That's what seemed to offend pundits in the establishment media the most. When Trump was asked, do you want Ukraine to win? And he declined to say yes or no because, as a potential future president, if you're trying to broker an end to a war, you probably don't want to take sides. And he was just saying, I'm not on anyone's side. I just want to stop the killing. And that was I think a very sensible answer, but yet it earned him all kinds of derision.
Yeah. And I actually don't know if he told, before we play it, I just want to say, I don't know if he told any more lies than we hear from any other traditional retail politician.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Good point.
I don't know if this accuser is telling the truth against him. Seems extremely shady what's taking place. And New York did change the law just so it could go forward. Right. So, I mean, the whole saga of Trump is just one phony put on allegation and attempt to destroy him after another because he can't be beaten in elections. And the establishment finds him so absolutely odious. And of course, they hate him deeply for what he said about Ukraine. I mean, this is what I felt most comfortable addressing and not getting involved in some of the culture war stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, my takeaway was that he just beasted the town hall, completely dominated Caitlin Collins, who was put in to try to, first of all, serve as a visual contrast to him and make it seem like he was being cruel to a woman. But he just kind of dominated. It was one of the funniest hours of TV I've seen. A lot of the crowd found it to be hilarious as well. And his opponent seemed completely humorless. Trump is a fact of life. It's not going away. You can't deplatform the front runner of one of the two major political parties. And so this was a big loss for Trump's opponents. And then, they thought they could nail him on Ukraine, but I don't think they understand where the American public is on this either. So let's take a look.
Would you give Ukraine weapons?
I was impeached by a crazy woman named Nancy Pelosi.
But the question here is, would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were elected?
I would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that? Because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
It's pretty humbling that a guy of such, I think, poor character as Trump, I don't see him as a beacon of moral integrity, can offer a lesson in humanity to a CNN journalist, because that is the correct answer. He's saying in a war, you don't think about winning and losing, you think about stopping the bleeding, stopping the death. And that is apparently a lesson that CNN pundits and everybody else on cable news who freaked out about this have to learn, is that, war is not a game. It's not about winning and losing. It's about stopping the death, stopping the war. And they're so attached to war that they can't even fathom that. And Trump, for all of his own, deficiencies and dysfunctions, he's able to see that more clearly than they can. And that's just such a stark contrast. And of course, I mean, the tragedy of Trump is that he had an opportunity to prevent all this when he was president. And a combination of the power of the national security state, but plus his own weakness, cost him that opportunity because, he had the right instincts when he was campaigning, talking about getting along with Russia, talking about, questioning the use of NATO. All those were right things, and talking about getting out of foreign interventions. But yet in office, he appointed a bunch of neocons who lobbied him to actually escalate tensions with Russia and Ukraine, to send weapons to Ukraine that Obama wouldn't send, to tear up nuclear treaties with Russia. And all these things contributed to the war. And, he could have stood behind Zelensky after Zelensky won in 2019 on a peace mandate. Trump could have stood behind him and said, yeah, I'm backing up Zelensky's peace mandate, and we're going to end this war in the Donbass that we're fueling. And instead he didn't. Now, part of that also is he came under extreme pressure, not only from his own cabinet, but also from Democrats who impeached him.
Well, the impeachment thing was so phony. I was actually reading the transcripts of it. It was so phony. There's one point where Morrison, the boss of Vindman, actually says, we're fighting Russia over there, so we don't have to fight them over here. And like it's cited there as a reason to continue to arm Ukraine.
Yeah, and of course, that's what Adam Schiff quoted in his opening statement at the impeachment trial favorably. So that was an alignment of Republican and Democratic neocons to impeach a president who briefly impeded their proxy war. So it's not all Trump's fault, but any opportunity he had to avoid this war, he dropped it. He did because his choices help contribute to it. But now, of course, he's saying the right things again, and it's an interesting contrast, and that's why again he is a villain in their eyes, because for the pundit class, peace is unfathomable. Of course, we have to fight Russia over there. Of course,
okay,
if you question that,
Trump is asked about the IC. Is Putin a war criminal?
You say he's a stupid person. Okay, he's not a stupid person.
Sorry.
He's very smart. He's very cunning. And Putin made a bad mistake, in my opinion.
What was his mistake?
His mistake was going in. He would have never gone in if I was president. We used to talk about it there.
Do you believe that he is a war criminal? Do you believe that Putin is a war criminal?
I mean, these questions are just framed in such a submental, cerebrally void, neocon way. Like, there's no, it's designed to decontextualize the entire debate and sap it of history. And Trump just steamrolls over it. And I think it's partly because he's learned the lessons of Russiagate, and Russiagate's over. So there isn't much they can hold over his head. But like, do you want Ukraine to win or lose? What is winning? What is winning? Do they ever define winning? Is winning regime change in Moscow? Is it retaking Crimea? Because that's not going to happen. And now, is Putin a war criminal? And Trump gives, again, I was actually impressed. He gave the right answer from a diplomatic point of view.
He's responsible for the deaths of thousands
well,
of Ukrainian men and women.
I think it's something that should not be discussed now. It should be discussed later, because right now we have to get a war. If you say he's a war criminal, it's going to be a lot tougher to make a deal to get this thing stopped.
Exactly.
Because if he's going to be a war criminal where people are going to go and grab him and execute him, he's going to fight a lot harder than he's fighting, under the other circumstance. That's something to be discussed at a later date. Right now, we want to get that war settled.
Call it what it is.
I'm not talking about the money either. I'm talking about all the lives that are the number of people being killed in that war is far greater than you're hearing. When they blow up a city and those buildings come pouring down and then they say 2 people were injured. No. Hundreds and thousands of people are being killed, and we have to get that war settled.
So, I mean, he's right. And that's the whole point of the ICC, as we illustrated here at the Grayzone. That's the whole point of the ICC warrant, which was based on State Department funded phony research. The whole point is to extend the war and make it impossible for anyone to negotiate with Putin. It's all about like making it hard for BRICS to host Putin in South Africa. It's not about ending a war. It's about extending it, which means more war crimes will happen.
If we had a functioning media, that report you and Jeremy Lafredo did would have gotten a lot of attention, because here is a ICC indictment of the president of Russia. That's a huge deal. And then you guys come out and show that it's a scam. It's based on a it's based on a State Department tied report whose author admitted to Jeremy that, oh yeah, a lot of these camps that we're now saying are the set of war crimes, they're pretty benign. And oh yeah, these children were there voluntarily. Those are huge admissions, but yet everybody just completely ignored it. And nobody, I'm assuming, has challenged the reporting that you guys did, right?
No, even the researcher that the State Department put up to do this has not come out and said anything. I figure he would have sued or something if we'd gotten anything wrong.
Sure. Yeah. He said nothing about it.
Well, just to illustrate what a farce our media is, Caitlin Collins, who CNN brought on to, it's that season, it's allergy season. We got it too. But Caitlin Collins, who CNN brought on to interrogate Trump, to subject him to some kind of enhanced interrogation, and who completely failed in her job. I mean, just go into her archives at the Daily Caller and you'll see what a serious and talented journalist she is. 13 Syrian refugees we'd take immediately. We wouldn't mind if these Syrians entered the country. They are seriously, look, they are seriously hot by Caitlin Collins. This is what she was up to in 2015.
That is revolting.
You know, making light of the suffering of, I mean, I guess their Instagram accounts are removed, but she just went into the accounts of the social media accounts of Syrian refugees and determined who was hot, and then said that they should be allowed refuge and asylum on the basis of their attractiveness.
Wow.
She treats like one of the worst human tragedies brought on by the Syrian dirty war as a complete joke.
Wow. I had never seen that before. That is one of the most revolting things I've ever seen from our media, which is saying a lot. That's unbelievable. And this is the kind of journalism that gets you promoted in U.S. media, stuff like this. This is a great example. This is wow. That is too revolting for words.
Wow. I mean, I'm not comparing it to the Holocaust, but I mean, just imagine 13 Buchenwald internees we'd love to have sex with.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's like the moral level she's at.
When she came up with that pun, seriously hot, she must have thought that was really clever. Seriously hot. Wow. That's
what the Syrian dirty war came down to for Caitlin Collins in one line. While a growing list of governors are claiming they won't allow Syrian refugees to enter their states, we think these women might make them change their minds.
That's humiliating. Ooh. That's humiliating. Yeah.
Well, there's more there.
Yeah. Anyway,
I could. There's more there, blaming Soros for the Great Replacement. She's got a lot of greatest hits there, and CNN chose to.
Well, Trump should do a town hall with her and then grill her on her record. That would be, he might have more to nail her on than she had against him, because that is just disgusting. Wow.